those of us interested in history, Heritage Park presents a marvelous opportunity to find out what Oceanside used to look like.
I believe that people wanted to go forward and make better buildings, so they tore down buildings, not realizing the historical value that it would do for Oceanside. They tore down a drugstore and a restaurant and a hotel. We have all the stuff. And the museum is all old Oceanside. A lot of stuff in there. We have stoves, lamps, and then we have the first safe that was in Oceanside. In there also is old newspapers dating way back when. And that was a collection that the library gave me some of them, or gave the park. And then old magazines, an old telephone. We have a telephone switchboard in there from downtown, one of the first switchboards. This is the 1916 flood, and during that time the valley and Oceanside had all been in drought. And this rainmaker, they hired this rainmaker named Hatfield, and he started the rain, and it rained and rained and rained. The train went from Fallbrook to Oceanside, and that was all washed out, as you can see. And that shows you the beach. Look at the beach. You see them sawing wood, but it was terrible. Even cows and horses washed down, chickens, all washed down to the beach.
Several of Oceanside's historical buildings have been moved to Heritage Park, including the Johansson House, a one-room school, the first city jail, and the original Blade office, presenting history to young and old.
They're fascinated, especially the youngsters. I know they put their name in type and then run it on one of the presses, and they're just fascinated to see that. So that's how papers used to be put together. Well, if we're lucky enough to have one of the old typesetters, why that's interesting, because men can set type as fast as somebody can typewrite. And it's quite an art, which is fast disappearing, I'm afraid. The old bell, I don't know what school that's from, but there's a bell in there. And of course, all the little desks with the little hole for the inkwell. The children don't know what in the world that's for. I don't know if they believe it, but they seem true. You mean you had to dip the pen in ink?
Brings back a lot of memories. There was 1 through 8 grades at the school, and I suppose there was probably about 20, maybe, in the classroom, more or less, and one teacher. And I remember learning to read and printing, writing. The basics is what we had. And the older students helped the younger ones, because the teacher pretty much did everything. She taught the whole 8 grades.
People come to the park for weddings, class reunions like this one, or just to enjoy.
The park is one of the most beautiful parks in Oceanside, and you can come out here now, anybody, and have lunch. We're open always, every day. The park is open from 1 to 4, 9 to 4, I mean. And then they can go sit and have their lunch on the gazebo or anywhere and smell the roses. It's just a delightful park to just sit, take your lunch, and enjoy.
From Heritage Park, this is Genevieve Prentice for Inside Oceanside.